Yeah, man, the Kessia on this hoe. Gonna go ahead and do these shout outs.
Hello, Brejae.
Shout out to my nigga Synovia, my nigga Brisha, my brother Cam, my best friend Yudi, Kadarian, Malcolm, CC. Shout out to Tati.
Shout out to my sister Yasmin, my sister Lyric, my nigga Lil Bobby, Lil Kendall, Lil Fred. Shout out to my brother Caleb Dentrell. Shout out to my best friend Tadrian. Shout out to Coco. Shout out to my mama. I love her. I don't know what I do without her. Shout out to my 50 Regina, my 50 Pinky.
Shout out to Chastity. Shout out to Ariane. Shout out to my brother Devontae. Shout out to my 50 Lala, my sister Kenyatta. Shout out to my sister Shay. Shout out to my 50 Nisha. Shout out to Nene. Shout out to Clemter. Shout out to my sister Diamond Richardson. Shout out to my cousin who I'm riding down behind. Brejae took some granny. Shout out to her. Yeah, I love you.
Shout out to Lil Robert. Okay, hold on. Big Robert. Shout out to my best friend Rashad. Shout out to my ace Tatum Nick. Shout out to Ladine. Shout out to all the people that came and showed me love in my sleepover party. Shout out to let me see. Shout out to my nigga Branson, that $1 billion nigga. Shout out to my cousin Kanisha. Shout out to Laquita Shaquita. Shout out to my cousin Nene. Shout out to my sister Shataria. Shout out to my nigga Tay Tay. Shout out to my nigga Tawana.
Shout out to Shauna. Shout out to Duntravius. Shout out to LaDustin. Shout out to Ramon. Shout out to Darius Watson. Shout out to Carolyn. Shout out to shout out to Money. Shout out to Dalen. Shout out to DeMarcy Mill. Shout out to Damian Chapman, Damian Williams.
Shout out to my nigga DJ, my nigga Pee Wee. Shout out to Trampoline Team. Shout out to S&D. I hold it down for my Jungle West niggas. Shout out to my brother Quez. Shout out to my East Dallas bitch Brejae. Shout out to my nigga Pootie, my nigga Donetha. Lil Tomisha. Shout out to, did I shout out to Yes? But shout out to my little sister Yes. Shout out to my nigga Aaron. Shout out to who else? Shout out to my nigga Kiki, Lil Smokey. Shout out to
shout out to Darius. Shout out to my motherfucking brother DJ. Shout out to my cousin Coco. Shout out to my mama. I love you. You be on my case every day, but I love you though. Shout out to Adrian.
Shout out to my brother AK.
Shout out to Adon, Fred Dunn. Shout out to Jay Bird. Shout out to Deontay. Shout out to Brandon Bussy.
Shout out to my nigga Danielle, both of Danielle. Danielle Houston, Danielle Pepion.
Shout out to Aisha Wade.
Shout out to my nigga Shakina.
Shout out to Jahai Givens. Shout out to Nanny. Shout out to Papa. Shout out to Lyric, one of them. Shout out to Alicia. Shout out to Alyssa.
Shout out to Amber.
Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to
Rylan. Shout out to Lil Shayla. Shout out to
Antara.
Shout out to Stefan. Yeah. Shout out to Jalen. Shout out to Lil Tay Tay. Shout out to Anthony. Lil Tony. Lil Brescia. Shout out
to LID Chris. Shout out to Liddell. Yeah. Shout out to LID Stefan. Shout out to Antoine.
Shout out to La Parker.
Yeah, friend laugh. Shout out to Ariel.
Shout out to Flores.
Yeah.
Shout out to Taylor, my twin Ladrea, Deasia, my nigga Brittany.
Shout out to my twin Asia. Shout out to my nigga Ashton. Shout out to Dre, Can't Blow My High. Shout out to Duke. Shout out to Ashanti. Shout out to my best friend DeAndre.
Shout out to my nigga Taylor Perry.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dranisha. Shout out to Byron. Shout out to Bam.
Shout out to Baby Blood. Yeah. Shout out to Zay. Tunchi. Yeah. Shout out to him.
Shout out to my brother D. Avery. Shout out to the whole exclusive. Shout out to my nigga Tanika. Shout out to my best friend Wanisha. Shout out to Kelly.
Shout out to my A Shamari. Shout out to my right hand TT. Shout out to my best friend Yudi Blood. Shout out to Derek. Shout out to Lakeeman. Shout out to Zay. Man, shout out to Bello. I miss you. Shout out to Jawan. Shout out to Tyler EPC. Shout out to EPC JB Ken. Shout out to Trey Danfu. Shout out to my daddy. Free my daddy, man. Shout out to Bobby. Shout out to Buka. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to the whole LJB. Oh, shout out to my 50 Lala. Say, man.
Shout out to my nigga Mookie Lee. Shout out to Lala Been Paid. Shout out to my nigga Paula. Shout out to my nigga Fat Fat, Lil Jasmine. Shout out to my nigga Lisa Day Day. Shout out to Xavier Butler, First Love. Shout out to who else? Shout out to Papa Big Head Ass. Shout out to Mama Nisi. Shout out to Tyler Taylor, the twins. Shout out to Diamond, Audrey, Pookie. Shout out to Brianna.
Shout out to Puda. Shout out to Brianna. Shout out to the Brick Boys. Shout out to YG Freddie B. Shout out to my brother Robert.
Shout out to Nunu, the Jungle West. He fuck him up. Shout out to Buzz. Well, he don't know where he from, looking ass.
Shout out to YG Cam. Shout out to Cam Thurgout. Shout out to my brother Cam. Shout out to my nigga Chemical. Shout out to my nigga DeAndre.
Shout out to shit. I don't really know what I'm finna say right now, cause shit, I don't know who I'm finna give a shout out to no more. But shit, we say the best for last. Shout out to my husband Derek, man, free him. They can't hold a real nigga down for long. You gonna come home to a real bitch.
Shit, yeah, free my nigga Derek. That's my brother. I miss you, Derek. But shout out to my motherfucking baby, T. James, Quindon. I miss you. Yeah, look, y'all got my phone right now, but shit, when I get the hell back, I will be hitting you up.
Shit, if we left y'all out, shout out to all my niggas. If I fucks with you, shout out to y'all.
I guess we done here.